Welcome to the e-commerce leader series, the podcast dedicated to helping founders and operators navigate the future of e-commerce with AI. I'm your host. I'm Henrik Bidinger, co-founder and CEO of Luca AI. And today I have the pleasure to be joined by Henrik Jonsson, the CEO of A Good Company, one of Europe's most recognized circular consumer brands. Henrik has had a fascinating journey spanning finance, private equity, investment, corporate leadership. He'll tell us all about it, and is now focused on sustainable e-commerce. So a very interesting conversation ahead of us. So Henrik, welcome.
Thank you, Eric, and thanks for having me.
Not at all, our pleasure. So first question, Henrik, maybe you can tell us a little bit about you. What's fascinating to us is you've spent time in private equity, investing in large corporations, and now you're running a consumer brand. And so can you walk us a little bit through that journey and what ultimately led you to lead A Good Company?
Yeah, I mean, that's a quite long story. I'm turning 45 this year, so I might occupy the whole podcast sequence with that, but I will try to at least compromise that. So I did grow up in the north part of Sweden with partly entrepreneurial family to some extent. And I think in an early age, trying to sell different things to consumers. That was kind of, I have memories even from when I was like 7 or 8, when we're starting to do that. And I think that was... something we're born within that, right? There was some kind of emotional feelings that was getting supported by managed to sell and make the other part as well happy. So I think that's where it is kind of, in general, the commercial interests were getting born. And then after that, after the high school, I turned into a company you might know as well that was quite active in UK by that time, Carphone Warehouse, or in the Nordics they were named as the Phone House. So I worked for them for quite some time, both as a trainee and simultaneously as I were doing the studies. And then when that had passed about 10 years, I was starting up and together with a previous colleague, and we were doing different kind of investments in mainly Swedish companies in very different type of areas. Some of that did turn out well. Most of it didn't, unfortunately, but it was a very good learning, I have to say. We were a bit too ambitious by that time. So then I was coming back into the telco industry and stay there for basically until now, because obviously with A Good we're still operating in the telco industry, and I managed to get in contact with the founders in an early stage in 2020. That was a time when I were working for, I wouldn't say a competitor, but a different brand in this industry, and by that time that brand was the largest phone case manufacturer in the world, and that was how I did get in contact with A Good Company by 2020.
Interesting, very interesting. And so what was it about A Good Company that made you want to become CEO?
So, the whole journey was starting basically, already by 2020, 2019, it was quite obvious that, the CO2 consumption and the fossil consumption we've had for the past, 30, 50, 60 years, it's needed to change, right? And I think already by that time, we also did understand that back from the university that it is very difficult to change a mindset or a behavior on a consumer. But what you can do is to, change the whole production cycle and the product itself. So I think that was what I was really kind of, that was a very interesting concept with A Good Company, even though it was in a very, very early stage by that time when I joined. And that's the philosophy that we have really adopted during the past 6 years I've been here. So it's the kind of, the strategy of innovate, design, circular consumer products, but at the same time understand and remind yourself that you are competing in in a play field with non-sustainable, non-circular brands. And even though consumers tend to say that, yeah, we prioritize sustainability very high, when it comes to the actual purchase decision, it tends to be very low in the hierarchy. There are other features that is more important, and
yeah, you just went where I wanted to go, actually, which is exactly this. Is so like a lot of sustainability brands lead with purpose, but do you? I think you answered the question already. Do you think consumer buy your product because it's sustainable, or because it's just a better product, or a combination of both?
Yeah, I mean, the diplomatic answer is a combination of both. I think the learnings that we have done in a hard way is that consumer are, to some extent, or at least to some type of consumers, are still having sustainability high in their kind of purchase decision hierarchy. But obviously, the purpose of our existence is to, try to make a difference within these industries we are operating in, mainly then the phone accessory industry. And what we can do within that industry is producing or developing circular products, but also not sacrifice the quality, the pricing, the design, the touch and feel, etc. There's no chance the mass market will pay a premium just for the sake that it is sustainable. At least that will not happen in the coming years, I would assume, and also given the macroeconomic situation, unfortunately, we are experiencing. Yeah,
that's very interesting. That's another story for today, but I run a sustainable business here in the UK a few years back, and exactly this. There's this cognitive dissonance between what people say they want to do and the actual behavior, which is ultimately price matters above everything else.
Yeah.
and sustainability is kind of a luxury belief that sometimes pops up, but not always.
No, I think you're right, but I think that is kind of spot on of this paradigm shift we are experiencing. We will address AI later on in this conversation, but I have a very strong belief that established brands in a lot of different type of industries that has been operating for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, for them to turn into a true circular proposition is unfortunately more or less impossible.
Yeah.
So that means that, we will see a lot of new brands, hopefully even A-Good is going to take a major chunk of the market share in the industry we are operating, but also in a lot of other industries that will pop up new brands that entering the industry with a kind of a blank sheet, but they have the mindset of to be existing in a long term in an industry, you need to be have the circular mindset. And existing companies can't do that. They have too much of a legacy. So they will die.
Absolutely. Actually, that's a great segue into so I wanted to switch gear a little bit and talk to you about just from a operationally, like the challenges that you're facing and the operational challenge of building a circular business compared to a traditional commerce business. So both online and offline, but like what's the added layer of complexity that comes into play when you need to abide by circularity or sustainability ethos?
We're still trying to learn from that and understand that, but you're right, it is very complex. And I think first of all, the e-commerce and the physical distribution or retail distribution is so different, right? They are demanding very different type of packaging or potentially pack out. All of it except for the product is different. And to some extent, it's also from a strategic point of view quite tricky because it's quite often you need to select one of them. One of these distribution channels needs to be preferred. And that is a quite tricky balance, I have to say. So that's one of the question marks we always need to address. I think when it comes to the circularity, what we always have in mind is when we are designing a new product, the circularity is kind of a hygiene factor. So that's always the starting point. And then it comes to, okay, how can we make it, from a quality point of view, standing out, from a design, and then also, not least, the pricing. We can't get into a higher price. And I think that means that we, in most of the cases, are kind of breaking new grounds. And to some extent, that takes time because, we're also dependent on partners in doing that, and they need to have the same mindset, etc. So yeah, it is complex, but I think for every day the world gets more and more mature and adopting more and more to our vision and strategy. So yeah, with reducing the time to market slightly.
Yeah, no, exactly. I always tell my wife that, we're boiling the ocean, it's really hard. And she always replies that, look, every little step matters. So anyway, it's a long.
Well, that's very much what it is, right?
Yeah. And actually, just in that same vein, so what do you think is a challenge that sounded easy in a boardroom and on a PowerPoint presentation, but became incredibly difficult in practice? So like related to, for example, manufacturing or returns or recycling or consumer behavior, like what's the delta between theory and practice here?
Very good question. Obviously, we were, as we have, which are a bit uncommon, I would say, we have been trying to balance the e-commerce revenue percentage and retail part of the total revenue, like half-half. And that means when we are getting into or starting to approach a new retail partner, if that is Vodafone or O2 or Deutsche Telekom or T-Mobile, that's a quite long cycle of starting the conversation and also finally or hopefully get a positive response, and then it should be a good timing to get the products into retail. That could be a time frame from 1 to 5 years, right? So when you have the board meeting and say you need to expand faster, in theory we have the best proposition. But obviously we are impacted by different kind of sources, right?
Yeah.
And that is, convert that into the e-commerce, which obviously can go much, much quicker, right? As long as you have the right KPIs and can, boost your advertising. I think so. One of these responses on that question is that I think it's kind of, to some extent, it needs to take time. And I have some kind of philosophy that if something takes time to build, it also means that it takes time to, I would say, destroy it. Or it takes longer time for losing out, so to say.
Yeah. Very interesting. And if today
I'm trying to remind myself about that when things take time.
For people like ourselves who are, and maybe our audience who are a little bit impatient by nature, I think it's a good thing to do.
True.
If you were to start from scratch today, would you start with the DTC channel? Would you start with the retail channel, or would you start with both at the same time?
If I were able to afford to start both channels at the same time, I would definitely do that. But if that wasn't an option, then I will most likely have. My heart is. I've been growing up in the retail distribution, like physical distribution. I'm very much a fan of that. But I don't underestimate neither the e-commerce. So. Yeah, it's a hard. If we were able to afford, I would definitely go for both of them, but that would take a bit more time for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Pros and cons of each. Both have very valid distribution channels, obviously. Switching gears a little bit, and your role as the CEO of this company. Could you tell us what decisions consume most of your attention today? I'm sure you're context switching continuously, but is there something in particular that consumes a major or plurality of your time?
Um, Cash flow. Never underestimate the challenges with cash flow.
Yeah.
No, but I think, I mean, at least I'm striving to have a kind of a healthy balance between what is the key for success, and also for key for monitoring the numbers, and that we are on the right path and can handle the cash flow, etc., etc., and that we are, growing in a healthy way without kind of taking too much of risk. So I think, a couple of things that is super important for me is always bringing, positive energy into the organization. That's, key topics. That takes a lot of time. And also making sure I have 100% control of the numbers. That's very high priority for me, which I tend to spend quite some time on.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this a little bit, actually, just the access to the numbers and the data. So how many, top of mind, how many systems and dashboards do you need to look at on a daily or weekly basis before you can feel confident you're making a proper data-driven decisions? Like, how many systems are you looking at?
I would say from top of my mind, at least 6, maybe 7.
It's a big number.
It's a big number. Yeah, it is.
It's the same for everyone, but it's a big number. That's the problem, right? Sorry, that's a leading question. Then my follow-on question is, what's the biggest frustration in that process, going through 7 different systems?
What comes top of mind on that question is that, the delay of information. I would expect, I want to have, what happened in the last second, I want to have all of that at the same time, all of that information at the same time for all of these 7 softwares. But that's not the reality, unfortunately. But that's what I kind of get a bit annoyed of not having real-time data all the time. Yeah.
No, I hear you. a lot of our clients are saying this, and in a way that's what we help them solve with Luca. But irrespective of Luca, what would you be? So if you had a magic wand and you could magically wave this into being, so what would you think would be the biggest unlock if you were able to get access to real-time data in a centralized fashion that facilitates your decision making? Like, what's the unlock here for the business and yourself?
But I think for the decision making, it's two kind of decisions that we always, that we do all the time, every day we are awake. It's the unconscious decision that the brain takes, that you need to pre-prompt and say, this is our vision, this is what we aim towards. And the unconscious decision needs to be taken based on that. I'm a very strong believer of that kind of mindset. On the other thing, which are the whatever top of mind or the really kind of active decision, to be able to take as much of your or actually be able to take the decision based on 100% accurate data without kind of gut feeling or guessing, that is the value, right? Because we all do mistakes, and we are influenced by different kind of things every day, which might force you in what you think is the right direction or what you think are the right decision, but it might be that you have a gap of some accurate data. That's what I'm hoping for, to get with getting all of this integrated in the future.
Yeah, we don't know what we don't know, right? That's the problem.
Exactly. No.
And the blind spots are clearly there. And the reality is that whatever percentage you want to assign to it, whether it's 5% or 20% or even a third, but that's the amount of data that we actually use in making day-to-day decisions. The rest goes wasted, and it goes into this black hole. Hopefully it's not important. Sometimes it is, and you miss it.
Yeah.
So actually, that's a good segue into talking about AI, because I think that's where AI is very, very good. AI is very good at being able to build kind of this synthesizing layer on top of a company's data, so that you have this system that it's able to ingest and interpret 100% of the data. So there's no blind spots anymore. And so we're clearly moving towards a world where our, and I'm saying our because I'm leading a company as well, but our managerial day-to-day is going to be radically augmented by the use of AI. But that's me. Where do you think AI will have the biggest impact on a brand like yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
I fully agree with you. I'm getting kind of, I say, shocked every day when I kind of implement AI in a new kind of topic or tool. But I mean, coming back to the decision making, obviously we will be able to take much more of an accurate decision, I would say, going forward. But also another thing that is coming back to what we talked when I said that the paradigm shift in terms of large established corporate are getting replaced by new startups. I think because they can't really turn into sustainable, a proper sustainable proposition. I think the amplitude or the boost or the turbo that AI is bringing to small, medium, large enterprise right now, combining with circularity or sustainability in AI, is just through the roof. I mean, when you think of a large company, when say, okay, guys, we're going to implement AI, that means you and you and you are going to be replaced. I mean, the kind of satisfaction or the energy in the organization of replacing humans with AI. And I think I was also reading an article in Fortune a couple of weeks ago, which was proving that the cost wasn't kind of reduced. But anyhow, I mean, the incentive in the large corporation of implementing AI, which is going to replace humans, I mean, that's going to be very, very low, right? Yeah. But if you take that into our organization, we are very few. We are, 20, 25 people. I mean, everyone here is overloaded with work, and they know they are not going to be replaced because we need more people. What happened when they start to use AI in a day-to-day topic and I mean, sheets or whatever they have been working a lot with, it has consumed a lot of time for them in the past. When they implement AI in that, I mean, the amplify of the workload they can handle is kind of through the roof, right? Yeah. So suddenly it's kind of, I mean, the boost to get from a small medium enterprise with AI versus a large is kind of, yeah. I think it's a massive paradigm shift we are just in the middle of right now.
Yeah, exactly. Totally agree. There's another aspect as well. I don't know if you agree, and that's the fact that it's a little bit of a wild west at the moment in terms of the way people interact with search. So I mean, obviously Google for the past 20 years now, people are speaking to their agent, and the fact that now a lot of the purchasing decision is going to sit with the agent that is going to feed you, the answer to a question like, find me the most sustainable phone case. Whereas before you kind of had to pay to play. Now it's a wild west where suddenly everything has been flattened again, and people like yourself have the opportunity to actually really lean onto the sustainability aspect, because I think people are asking those questions. Now, whether they end up purchasing or not because of sustainability, that's a different question. But at least you rank pretty high up in a ChatGPT or in a Anthropic search around sustainable phone case, and that suddenly brings the circularity of what you do back up to the fore, right? It suddenly becomes important to be a sustainable first or sustainable native company, because the agents are good at picking that up in the way you communicate to the rest of the world, and therefore gives you an edge versus legacy players who are just tacking on sustainability because it's for cosmetic purposes.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think I hope you're right, and I believe so as well. Definitely.
Yeah. Very good.
Please.
What's one trend in commerce everyone should be paying more attention to?
AI.
Okay, very good. What's one trend that everyone is overhyping?
I think AI creation of the digital assets, assets that you use in social media, etc. I think that will be pushed back.
Yep, very good. What book has most influenced you and your thinking as a business leader?
What's coming top of mind is I'll see if I can do not the direct translation or a direct translation of this. The monk that did sell his Ferrari.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's the direct translation of that title, but that really staying in my mind and reminds me quite often.
Good. If you give us a link to the book, we can put that on the show notes at the
I will do.
at the bottom.
Yeah, sure.
And finally, what's one piece of advice you'd give every e-commerce founder today?
But that would be try to be prepared of the kind of emotional roller coaster that you're going to experience. I still need to remind myself about that. It could be like today I feel like the king. We're going to take over the whole world when it comes to the mobile accessory. And tonight something might happen and I comes back to a bad place, right? And that's to some extent that's the glory. But I would say the workload is most likely the thing that's going to kill you. It's the mental kind of roller coaster that you need to go through. That you just need to manage to handle.
Yeah, it's tough, huh? It's tough. It requires resilience and a little bit of masochism as well.
Very much, I think, actually.
Very good. Well, Henrik, it was fantastic talking to you. It was a great conversation. Love to hear about what you are doing at A Good. Obviously, always cheering for circular business and sustainable business and B Corp and the like. Thanks again for being a guest. And if you can let our audience know where they can find you, if you have any socials and the company's website.
Eric, thank you very much, and thanks for very relevant questions. I appreciate that. And if anyone want to reach out, please do LinkedIn, Henrik Jonsson, or even email hj@agood.com. So happy to keep on conversation in that channels.
Fantastic. And if everyone needs to buy very cool phone cases, by all means. Good. Yeah. Henrik, thank you very much. That's a wrap for today, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.